Hello, good evening.
Hiya.
So I've sat here for 3 minutes trying to get this working. I wasn't sure if it was going to work tonight. I don't know if it's the weather, I don't know what it is, but I was having a bit of a mini panic there. And then I saw myself and didn't recognise myself, which was a bit odd. Good evening. Nice to see you all. Got a few new faces here joining us this evening. I'm gonna keep this evening one really brief because I know in the UK it's freezing. And there's been a few comments about kind of how difficult it is to kind of to pull yourself away from the front room and stuff like that. So it probably won't be, let's say, as interactive as it was last time where I asked you lots of questions and stuff. But if you do want to say something, feel free just to raise your hand. I can see you all. There's a nice group on my screen so I can see each of you. If you want to contribute, then please do. Are you, just to save me doing it, are you all able to mute yourself? Are you all able through the technology to, and then that saves if there's any kind of stuff going on in the background, we don't need to hear it. So that's most of you done. Right, brilliant. So we have been decluttering this week, or a lot of us have. And I did a Facebook Live earlier on about my beliefs around decluttering, not just being about the physical stuff, but somehow, and I don't understand the magic, I don't understand it, but somehow the act of making space in your life opens up this magical kind of thing for new exciting stuff to come into your life. Now, I know that doesn't sound very technical at all because I don't understand how it works, but it does, because every time I declutter, something incredible comes into my inbox. And I'm sure you've seen it on social media today because I've been shouting about it all day, but I have got a place for the New York Marathon, it's been on my bucket list for a long, long time. And it was, after having a really shitty week last week, the only thing I could focus on last week was getting rid of crap. Like, I literally had the biggest clear out ever. And then this week, loads of really exciting stuff is coming kind of into my life. And I do think it's down to decluttering. I really do. I don't know why, don't know how, but I really do believe that it's the case. And then today in the Facebook group, we also talked about decluttering. There's somebody not on mute. There we go. I'm going to just mute. Hi, Sarah. I'm just going to mute you so that we've not got any kerfuffling, if that's okay. But I'll bring you in if we need to. So, yeah, today in the Facebook group, I spoke about decluttering the things that we say, the phrases that we use, the way we describe ourselves, the way we think about ourselves. And what I want from this point forward is for us to change the record. How many times have we heard that phrase? Oh, change the record, won't you? Or what's the other one? Change the tune. And that's what I want us to do. So, you know, I did put some prompts in the group, I think it was last week, around phrases that you use about yourself, like, you know, I have never, or I always, you know, these things where we generalize about ourselves, and often those things are not true. So we might say, oh, I'm quite a lazy person. And somebody else that knows you will go, no, you're not. You're always on the go. But we feel comfortable describing ourselves in certain ways. So, for example, and I've written a few prompts here, like, and I am so guilty of this sometimes. So, you know, people that say, oh, I never do anything exciting. And you think, yes, you do. Or, you know, nothing good ever happens to me. Or, you know, those people that say, oh, I never win anything. Oh, I never win anything. And you think, well, do you ever put in for anything? You know, those people that go, oh, I'll never win the lottery. And then you find out they don't even bloody play the lottery. So I want us to kind of identify some of those things that we always say about ourselves. And they're really hard to unpack and undo. Like, I know if you're in the habit of saying those things, they are really difficult. But I believe that we can, over the course of time, rewrite kind of our story, or at least start a kind of new chapter, a new story, and to start saying things about ourselves like, you know, exciting things happen to me all the time. You know, I think it's pretty exciting that all of us are here. We've got people from other, you know, the other end of the earth, you know, and we are doing this really exciting thing via the power of technology. I think that's pretty exciting. So I think, you know, we can change what we think about ourselves and the way we describe our lives, because we are about to go, we're kind of the halfway point, and we are about to go into my most exciting part of the program. And Becky, you will know some of this. because in the retreat we did some of this. So we are about to move into week 5, which is the Be, Do and Have week. Now, I think we've started off with some really challenging topics, the facing your fear, the resistance, being visible. I think the Be, Do, Have is equally scary. It's going to cause you to kind of look into yourself. But the flip side of it is when you get to the activity for this week, it's a really, really fun activity. So, Becky, I'm going to unmute you and I'm going to put you on the spot.
Okay.
Hi, Becky.
Hi.
All the way from the Dordogne. Have I said that right?
Oui.
Yes. Okay. Don't ask me to speak French because I'm terrible. So Becky came on the Greek retreat in Rhodes last year, and we did a little bit of this. So we talked about the Be, Do, Have, and we also talked about the 100 list. Do you remember that?
I do.
So do you want to share with the group your experience of that 100 list and what you felt about it?
I really like the 100 list. I'm a massive list fan anyway. Anybody who knows me will know that I I have a mother list and then a daily list. So to have a 100 list was that felt really good. It helped me focus and really think about what I wanted. It gives you something concrete that you can work towards. It's written down. So it's kind of there on paper and you can go, okay, so if you've got a decision to make, there's an opportunity in front of you. You're struggling to kind of make a decision about whether it's the right thing to do or not. You can kind of go, okay, well, is this going to contribute to my 100 list in any way? Yeah. So it's quite good for kind of focusing the mind and helping you make decisions about what you should and shouldn't be doing.
So do you want to share some of the things that are on your 100 list?
Okay. Write a novel.
Mm-hmm.
Which is a big one. Learn French, obviously. Spend more time with my husband, which is a bit of it's a bit tenuous. There's no it's not what is more time. So it's it's difficult to kind of measure that.
You can't tick that one off really, can you? You can't say, right, did that.
No, exactly. That's an ongoing one, isn't it?
Yeah.
All the usual ones: get fit, lose weight. In fact, hang on, let me see if I've got my list here because I redid it recently.
While you're doing that, I'll share with the group. This will be in your email and it will be in the video. But the 100 list is a bit like a bucket list. But I've been doing a 100 list this will be my 3rd year of doing a 100 list. And the reason it's 100 things is because quite often when I did this at the retreat, I've done it 2 years running at a retreat, and women get to about 10 or 11 on the list and they go, oh, I don't want anything else. And I'm like, what? What do you mean you don't want anything else? Because I think as women, we are often, we're like, we don't want for much. We're quite satisfied and we don't want to be greedy and, we want things for other people. And the great thing about the 100 list is there are no rules as to what goes on it. And it doesn't have to be realistic at all. Like how SMART goals have to be realistic. This is not about being smart. It's about saying to yourself, I want this thing. I may never get it, but I'm just going to acknowledge that I want it. And for a long time, when I was doing these lists, I found it really difficult to put materialistic things on the list because I thought people would judge me. But it's my list. Like, no one has to see your list. It's your list. No one has to see it. And then I realised that actually it's okay to want things. And I can remember Jo Franco did this. Jo Franco, who's in the group. The first retreat, she said, damn it, I want a pair of gold sandals. And she put that on her. Really funny because Jo has really big dreams, doesn't she, in life? But this thing that she wanted on her list was such a simple thing. And by the time we'd left the retreat, she'd already ordered them online, So the 100 list can be really simple things that you just want, really materialistic things, either cheap or expensive. But they can also be experiences that you almost don't have a hand in. So I just one day this thing popped into my head and I was almost embarrassed. Like I'm even embarrassed sharing it with you. But I want to have like an OBE or like one of those things. I don't even know really what they mean, but I want one. And when that thing popped into my head, I went, shit, man, you can't want that stuff. Other people have to want that for you. But now it's there, it's on my list. And I do chuckle a bit because who knows, at some point it may go onto my list, or it may actually happen. So, Becky, tell us a few things that are on your list.
Okay, so write a novel, which you know. Lose 2 stone by the time I'm 40, which is like 5 months away. So that's going to be quite hard work. At the time I wanted a really beautiful office library, and I now have that.
Look at your library. I've got library envy. I so have.
So that was a job that the husband did. So that was really good. We kind of prioritised that. What else? I want to have a wardrobe with clothes that make me feel good. And I don't have any money to buy any clothes.
Yeah.
And I was looking in my wardrobe. This was during the decluttering challenge that we did as part of the Instagram challenge at the start of the year. And I thought, well, what can I do to kind of create a decent wardrobe that works for me, that doesn't mean I have to spend loads of money on it? Mm-hmm. So I kind of emptied it. I tried everything on. I got rid of the stuff that didn't fit. And then I put different combinations of everything together that I wouldn't normally wear. And actually, it turns out that I've got enough clothes to wear a completely different outfit every single day of the year, pretty much.
This is why decluttering is so good, because you find stuff that you forgot you had because all the crap is in front of it. You don't see it. So it helps you to be grateful for the stuff that you already have so that you're not looking for more. Because often when I talk about this stuff around what you want, I think there's often a little bit of resistance from people, particularly women, going, but surely that's greedy. It's all about more and spending money and being really kind of ungrateful for what you have. But it's not about that at all. It's the opposite. It's about kind of plug in the gaps in your life, you know, where it's going to bring you real kind of satisfaction. And that's what this is about. Why are we not able to be satisfied? Why is that not something that is worthy of our aspirations? So anything else that was quite frivolous on your list?
Oh, frivolous.
It's allowed to be frivolous.
I mean, I've got a number of travel things on my list. Go from trekking in Nepal to sleeping in a treehouse in the jungle. I want to sleep in a Bedouin tent under the stars in the desert. I'd like to see penguins in Antarctica. I could have filled 101 things with travel, actually. Yeah. But then I've got, you know, some important stuff about my business being sustainable, developing a product that I can market that gives me that sustainable, scalable income, which I've now done. Yep. So, like I said at the start, I kind of found this list to be really good for kind of focusing my mind and sort of concentrating my effort on the stuff that I really do want.
And what I've found when I've asked people to read out their list is that there's kind of mixed emotions. So sometimes it is this slight embarrassment, slight awkwardness, but often you see people's eyes light up. You see people go, oh, God, that would just be so exciting to have. And when I first did my 100 list, I was not in the position that I'm in now. So I had no disposable cash. I was still in a bit of a crappy relationship. Like I didn't have the vision that I have now in terms of being able to create the life that I want. And I can remember putting things like, I put, I'd like to travel first class on an aeroplane because I'd never done that before. And then that was like number 13 or something. And then by about number 67, I was like, well, that's quite far away. Maybe I could just travel first class on a train because I'd never done that either. And then that becomes something that was really affordable for me to do. So I was booking a train somewhere and it was £15 to upgrade. And I was like, yes, it's on my list. I can make it happen. So sometimes they're big things. Sometimes they're things that may take a lifetime to achieve. But by acknowledging that you want them, it does something in the universe and it kind of makes stuff happen. And actually, I wanted to give you an example of that. So in May 2013, so this was 5 months after Rose was born. So the business wasn't flowing. I was just a blogger. I did and you can check this out on the blog. I did a blog called My Marathon Bucket List. And it was a list of 10 races that I wanted to do. And at the time, I'd only done one marathon. So this is real kind of pie in the sky thinking. And on that list was Brighton, which I did the following year, and New York, which I am now going to be doing next year. So at the time, New York was, I could never have imagined spending the money that it will probably end up costing me to go, because God, I just, it just wasn't in my realm of thinking. But by having it on those lists, it becomes something that you desire. And then when it comes into your life, it feels like something that's incredible. So I just wanted to use that as a bit of an example, really, to get your kind of juices flowing about what you might want. Okay, and you can approach this in lots of different ways. So you could, the decluttering task is a really good preemptor to this, because the decluttering may make you think, and I remember the first time I did this big decluttering task, I looked around my flat and went, God, everything I own is like crap. Everything's falling apart and everything needs replacing, and, everything's a mess. And if I chuck away all the clothes that don't fit me, I'll be left with nothing, so it becomes this real kind of emotional, traumatic time. But now when I do it, it really does help me to kind of upgrade my thinking and my surroundings. And it also made me realise what was missing. So, maybe my home is not the right example for it, but when you look at kind of, say you were decluttering your friends, because remember we talked about decluttering doesn't have to be physical items, it can be relationships. So say you have a pool of friends that you knock about with, and say there are a few of them that really get on your nerves, or just, kind of abuse you, or just they're not good friends, and you make a decision that you're going to distance yourself from them. But then you realise actually you would like to replace them. You'd like to replace them with better friends. So by doing that decluttering, and I see Jo's nodding her head, because, this is the problem with friends. And actually, God, I shouldn't be sharing this, but I got a card on Valentine's Day from one of my best friends, and the card read, "Best friends forever, because I'm too lazy to find any new ones." And I was really pissed off. I was so pissed off, because I was pissed off that I got it on Valentine's Day. She thought she was being sweet, but all that did was remind me that I was single. And then, because I haven't seen her for ages, I thought it was so bad taste. I thought it was really, really bad taste. And it's the truth. Often when you get to the ages that we are, we just stick with the same people because it's safe and we've known them for a long time and it's awkward to get rid of them. But that doesn't mean we don't deserve more. Okay. And, just through the power of the clubhouse and the retreat and the different things and online, we have made these friends. I mean, Tammy, hi, Tammy. Good to see you. But look, I'm going to unmute Tammy because I just want to kind of, and actually I'll come on to Kate as well. I mean, when we did the Spitfire Scramble, how awesome was that in terms of making new friends? Oh, I can't hear you. Hang on. There we go.
Yeah, it was incredible, Julie. Yeah, it really was. I was so scared to turn up there and not know a soul. Yeah. And to do the running event and camping and all those things. But the girls were amazing. Yeah. It was brilliant.
And it really showed me, because I got to a point in my life where I thought, that's it. I'm stuck with the friends I've got. I'm never going to make any new ones. I'm never going to make any kind of really deep bonds with anybody. And I think it is difficult as an adult to make new friends.
It is. It's really hard, yeah. And you've got to really put yourself out there and talk to people and get out of your comfort zone.
Yeah, you do. You do. So I'm going to ask a few questions, and you can answer these. You can tell me your response, or you could just write them down. It might help you with aspects of your workbook, but you might want to journal on it as well. So I'm going to ask you some questions, and I just want you to have a think about it. So, what is missing from your life? What is missing from your life? What is glaringly missing from your life? What would other people say is missing from your life? What kind of relationships are missing from your life? What kind of adventure is missing from your life? What kind of connections and experiences are missing from your life? What is missing from your wardrobe? What is missing from your bookshelf? What is missing from your photo albums? What is missing from your social calendar? Okay, so I'm gonna open that up. Did that make anybody go ooh, or I'm gonna come to Joe. Joe's nodding. Joe, what did you get there? Let's unmute.
Oh God, hi everybody. It's just one of those things that it stops and makes you think, doesn't it? It really makes you think. I mean, some of you know the issues I've got at the moment with regards to, especially Tammy, because Tammy's a very, very good sounding board, and I really appreciate your friendship. You know, I've got massive issues. I need stability. I need focus. This group is really helping me with that. But I need the stability. I need a goal in my life. I scribbled a minute ago about my 40 things before I'm 40, because I'm another one that turns 40 this year. And I think putting together a list of 100 might be slightly better, because it'll enable me, especially after listening to some of Becky's things, and it'll enable me to break it down even more. Because when I was looking at my 40 things before I'm 40, you sort of think like silly things like I want to jump out of an aeroplane, and I want to, you know, do all this crazy stuff that I've got to think realistically about it. But just little things like,
I think there's also a pressure with the 40 things before 40 is that you're then on a countdown. And, you know, I'm 40 in June, and I started one of those 40 lists. And then I realised it's not fun because I'm chasing it to try and achieve a thing that actually means nothing to anybody else. It's just about me having a bit more adventure in my life.
Yeah. So, I mean, I've literally broken it right down. I've done, I decided I wanted to get lots and lots of medals for things. So I've already got 10 virtual medals for this year.
Yeah.
And then I've got loads more planned, and obviously I'm hoping to go to Disney, so that's another 5 medals just for 3 days in Disney. And it's just all about doing things because I can, and that's what I'm starting to realise, that I've got to do things for me because I can, not because it makes a difference to anybody else, but because it'll make a difference to me.
Things that are just for you. And I think my advice to anybody that's in the same position that often puts other people first is, on that 100 list, make it just be about you.
Yeah.
And I know the temptation is it to make it about family and kids and friends, and literally be really selfish and just make it about you. Maybe the family want to do a family one, that's fine. But, you know, make sure that you focus purely on what you want.
Yeah, thank you. No,
any ahas from anybody else? So was that Sarah? I saw you nodding along. And any ahas about what's kind of possibly missing in your life?
Well, it was interesting because they're very good questions to make you think, so I need to think about it. But I was. It's interesting because in some areas, you know, bookshelves, I thought, oh, that's interesting because we have loads of books, and actually, I don't think I have anything missing from the bookshelf, which is really brilliant.
Yeah.
And you know, when we were talking about the decluttering, you were talking about decluttering, and I do that quite regularly. And Becky, your wardrobe moment, I have a lot of clothes in bags, and each winter and each summer, you know, we've talked about it, Julian, I get out my summer clothes, and it is fantastic every time, because every time it's like I can make up a new wardrobe for this year and then put the other stuff back. Some of it is 30 years old.
Yeah.
But actually I even have pleasure in that, because I think, wow, you know, you've kept hold of it and you've looked after it. And I'm not massively, but I'm quite like this reduce, reuse, recycle principle.
Yeah.
In life. And so actually, and it's interesting because it gives you quite a lot of pleasure doing those small things. And I couldn't agree more with you about it's not about the materialism.
Yeah. And it's interesting because
thinking.
If you've got, and I worked with a stylist last year, and I did a big declutter before she came, and she's a lady she's got a business called the Wardrobe Diet, and she comes in and she helps you to manage your wardrobe. And what she did, she got all of these things together, and then she realised what was missing. So she was like, "You're missing a white shirt." And I was like, "Yeah, I don't have a white shirt." And she was like, "And you're missing a pair of animal print shoes." And I was like, yes, I am, because once I had these items, I could then use all the other glorious things I had in my wardrobe.
Exactly. Now you see, I have animal print shoes.
Yeah.
And silver sandals as well.
Yeah.
They're very old, but they're very serviceable.
Yeah.
So actually it's really interesting, those questions, because it allows you to think about where you have achieved. you know, a sense of contentment, I suppose, or got to it. So no, they're really good questions. Yeah, the photo album. Yeah, they were good questions. Thank you.
Good. Anybody else have any major kind of ahas during those questions? Anyone else like to share? Jenny, I just have to hear your voice because you're all the way in Australia, and just it would be rude not to. So I'm going to unmute you there. Hi, love.
Hello. Good morning. Good morning.
Hey.
Yeah. So well, look at the future. It's bright, and it's on Friday morning. Yeah. Look, it all resonates. It all really resonates. Yeah. And especially for me this year, I want to try and have a look at a lot of those things, you know, because I'm kind of like, you know, looking up suddenly after years of like pretty hardcore single parenting, and you know, this is it. It's like I don't do anything. I don't see anyone. Mostly, I've got a couple of friends. So this is things I've really got to do, and you know, I'm taking some baby steps with that. But yeah, so that's all really resonates. You know, what's missing is some kind of structure. What's missing is having a kind of a social life. And with the decluttering, I've do it in little fits and starts. I need to get some method around that. Like, I decluttered my car, which was pretty much as epic. I don't know if anyone in the first round of Living a Bigger Life remember how epic it was when I decluttered my handbag.
I remember, yes.
It was like Mary Poppins in an evil, sixth dimension, you know. So my car was the same, but yeah, I need to keep doing that, and I think I'm going to get some help to do that. But I know I think it's true. Like when everything's tidy and decluttered, I just feel such a weight off my shoulders. And I mean, who knows? I mean, maybe it's also. I'm always in a much better state of mind, so that I can kind of be open for new things. You know, so it's about that too. I just, you know, I like walk to the bathroom in the middle of the night, and I just look and I notice how everything is tidy, and I'll just be like, oh yes, and so there's room to be inspired and things like that. So yeah, it's just I've just got to kind of do it now. Yeah. But so I'm going to go back and listen to this, and you know, because I'm in my car ready to walk to work. I'm going to listen to this again and just, you know, write down answers to those questions about what's missing, and try and get an organised answer to that. Yeah.
Brilliant. Thank you, lovely. Have a good day.
Thank you.
So I think I am going to kind of round up because I don't want to keep your time too much. But I think there we go. I think, you know, what Jenny was saying about, you know, really having to think about those questions, because your 100 list doesn't just have to be the physical things. It doesn't just have to be the big life experience. It doesn't just have to be travel. It could be the things that are missing from your life, you know, and sometimes it's really difficult to admit what's missing. And actually, I was sitting here, Rose went to bed on time today. Like, she was in bed at quarter to 8 and asleep. I was like, what? So I sat here for about 20 minutes thinking about the call, thinking about the answers to those questions for myself. And you know what I realised I feel is missing from my life? I feel like male energy. So not necessarily a boyfriend, but male energy. I've almost missed my two brothers. Like, I just feel like I'm not around men ever. So in the online world, it's all women. In my life, it's all women. At school gates, it's all women. And I feel like I think I need a buddy. I think I need a male buddy of some sort. So I'm going to put that on my 100 list, that I would like a male buddy. But I think it does apply to romantic relationships as well. And I know all of the kind of dating coaches out there talk about writing a shopping list when it comes to the boyfriend that you want. And this can apply to friends, or, you know, whatever's missing. And later on in the program, when we talk about relationships, I'm going to talk about who's missing from your table of support. And almost what you need to do is create a little job description for those people, so that when they appear in your life, you recognize them and you know that they're there. So, you know, with a shopping list for, say, a romantic partner, you need to be specific. And I always love telling this story, but a few years ago, before I met Rose's dad, I was single. I'm always single, but I was moaning. I was with my two best friends and we were going out in Liverpool Street, and I was moaning about the lack of men in London. I was going, oh, I'm never going to meet anyone. How difficult is it to bloody meet anyone? And we were on the escalator going up, and all of a sudden this man popped up out of nowhere. And he was really handsome, and he was checking me out, and he was trying to chat me up. But what was really funny about this story is when we got to the top of the escalator, I realised he was only about 3 foot tall. But he was really handsome. I think I have told this story before. He was really handsome, and his name was Ray. But because I was drunk, I kept calling him Roy. And because I kept calling him Roy and he was short, I kept calling him Roy the boy. And that still didn't he didn't go away. And we went on a few dates and he was lovely, but he was so short. So the moral of that story is you have to be specific. It wasn't good enough for me to say I needed a new man in my life. I had to say I needed a tall man in my life, because otherwise he would have been, well, maybe not perfect, but he would have been close to perfect. So I do have a shopping list. I haven't looked at my shopping list for a while. And I can remember when I was toying with dating, and I had a little go on Tinder and all of that, and I had my shopping list, and I realised it was things like, hardworking, honest, family man, all of these things. And then one day I looked at my list, because I kept looking back at my list, and I went, why not handsome? Why have I nowhere on this list put handsome? So you have to be really specific. And I think part of the problem with being specific in a list like that is all of your feelings of not being worthy come up. So when you think about your 100 list or your shopping lists for relationships, be mindful of those feelings. So, and equally on Tinder, if you've not been on Tinder, even if you're in a happy relationship, download the app and have a look, because it is incredible for noticing your own bias. So, I'm not, lacking in self-esteem when it comes to men. I think I'm still quite a good catch, and all of that kind of stuff. But I would find myself going, oh, I better not swipe right with him because he's too handsome. Or I better not swipe right with him because he looks like he's an airplane pilot. I'd never get on with one of those. So that kind of left or right swiping thing is brilliant for noticing your own shit in your head, and I've, a couple of weeks ago, I was with some friends and I was quite drunk, and my friend said, let me have a go on your Tinder. And she was like, he's nice. And I was like, what? So kind of use these lists and these kind of judgment calls about what you want to come into your life as a bit of a kind of testing sounding board to look at where you feel you deserve stuff, So let's, for example, say in your wardrobe you are missing, an around town bag, if that's an expression. So you write on your list, I need a bag just for round and about. Then where are you going to go for that bag? Are you going to go to Primark? Are you going to go to Marks and Spencer's? Or are you going to go to designer? And it's not that I'm making any judgment on any of those, but my point is, are you making a judgment? Are you making a judgment about A, what you can afford, B, what you deserve, or what other people are going to judge you on? Okay, so this list exercise and the whole be, do and have thing, which I'll explain in the video next week, you may think this is just a kind of an exercise to think about bucket lists and shopping lists and stuff like that, but actually what it's an exercise about is looking at what you deserve. Okay, and only you can make up your mind what it is you deserve. Okay, and there will be the opportunity in the group to share some of your things around what you want and experiences you want and your 100 list, and it may be that you see somebody else's stuff and go, I want what she wants, because often, and it happened at the retreat, didn't it, Becky? So there are a few women that went, I've only got 5 things on my list. I don't want for much in life. And I'd go, okay. And I'd go on to the next lady. I'd say, can you tell? And then all of a sudden the first lady went, well, actually, no, I want that as well. And by the end of it, she's got 20 things on her list. Because often we don't want to admit what we want. And often we don't know what's out there. We don't know what's possible. And you don't know what you want until you see somebody else that has it. So really kind of tune in to those kind of gut instincts around what you want and what you don't want. And it's okay to put something on a list and 6 months later scrub it off, because I had a one-to-one call with Jo Franco a couple of months ago, and we went through her 100 list, and she said, actually, there's loads of stuff on this list that I don't want anymore. and she, you know, she's now happily married. That was one of the things on her original 100 list. And of course, I cannot take any responsibility for her happy marriage, but she did put that on her 100 list a couple of years ago. So on that cheery, happy note, I'm going to say thank you for joining us live. Sorry it wasn't as interactive as it has been, but I really wanted to keep it compact and get your mind going. So you've got maybe a little bit of time this evening just to make some notes, to journal, maybe to have a little quick look at your workbook, and then we will continue these conversations in the group next week. Okay, so good to see you all. Thank you for joining live, and I will see you all again soon. Okay, bye.